Hi, welcome to this lecture. So, in this lecture, we will talk about what is big data. A data can be associated with volume, velocity, variety, and variability. So, any kind of a data that we can associate with these four pointers can be considered as big data. Now, let's take it one by one. Volume. So, the quantity of data which needs to be collected, stored, and processed. That means we need to see that the kind of data from what are the sources and how we are collecting them, how we are storing them, and how we are processing them. And when we talk about volume, the volume needs to be in parallel with maybe the terabytes or petabyte size. We cannot consider like megabyte size data as a big data. So big data, when we talk about big data, it needs to be somewhere around petabyte, terabyte size, and that leads to the next pointer, which is velocity. That means at which velocity this data is getting generated and processed to meet the demand. That means how we are how much time it takes for the system to generate that kind of a data, and how much time it takes for the same system to consume it to meet the demand and to produce the desired outcome. Now, variety is one of the important aspect of big data, because the number of sources from which the data is tapped or procured, the type of data that we are talking about. That means if it is structured data, unstructured data, if it is coming from logs, if it is coming from IoT devices, or you name it. There are lots of types of data that we get nowadays from lots of devices, systems, and databases. So leading to the next point, which is variability, inconsistency, which can be shown by the data at times, thus hampering the process of being able to handle and manage the data efficiently. So now you must have seen, there are systems which sometimes generate a lot of data. There are systems which generate less amount of data, and when you combine these kind of sources together, then there will be an inconsistency in volume, in velocity, and in variety. So combining all these four aspects, whenever you have a kind of a system that combines all these things, you can call it a big data. And definitely a big data is leading to the huge amount of data, and that means at the scale of terabyte, petabyte of data every day. Now, moving on to the other side of the data, which is a data set which is extremely large and complex for a traditional data processing applications, is also considered as big data. Any data of the petabyte size in an enterprise qualifies for a big data. As I explained earlier, that there could be large number of systems which are producing lots and lots of sources, and that can qualify for a big data. Now, it could be structured, unstructured, semi-structured, relational, or non-relational. Now, some of the examples, like let's say the BSC, NYSC generate terabyte of stock related data every day. So definitely these are structured or semi-structured or unstructured data that you can get every day. You need to store them, you need to analyze them, you need to do the predictive analytics, you need to do lots of types of analytics that you can process, and you can get an edge over other people who are getting into the stock market business. So this is one of the examples that we have. Another example is like social media, like Facebook, Twitter, produce almost 500 terabyte of data to 1 petabyte of data every day, that consists of user behavior to their post and other activities. So using that kind of a data, you can actually study the user behavior, what kind of post they are liking, what kind of post they are trending, and what are their patterns, what are their likes and dislikes, and then you can use it commercially. So there are lots of things that you can do with the big data. And of course the kind of velocity that these examples are showing, I mean, like 500 terabyte of data every day is a huge amount, and you need to have a scale at which this kind of a data can be stored, can be processed, and then can be analyzed. So anyways, moving on to the next example, which is nothing but a single jet engine can generate up to 10 plus terabyte of data in 30 minutes of a flight time. So these are the sources which I am just mentioning over here, so that you can have a idea that what exactly qualifies for a big data. You cannot simply say that, okay, one of my shell script is running at a per day for like 4 or 5 times and it is generating 2 MB of data. I mean, that kind of a data doesn't qualify for a big data. But of course, if there are like 20 scripts or 20 instances of scripts are running, and then they are producing maybe 500 GB of data or 1 terabyte of log data every day, definitely that can accumulate into a big data, and then further processing can be done and lots of things can be made out of it. But anyways, I mean, just giving you one of the examples that how can you think about that what qualifies for a big data and what doesn't qualify for a big data. Hope this lecture for you was useful for you, and we'll see you in next lecture.